I'm your #1 fan.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
My mom and dad are gonna be...
I see dead people.
Hello.
Hello.
Happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday.
Welcome back to Killer Cuties Podcast.
That's us.
Mm-hmm. Every week it is.
Every single week. It remains to be us.
It does.
Yeah. How are you liking your short hair?
It's cute, right?
Yeah,
I curled it.
I know.
Yesterday, like 10 o'clock at night, we got home from Target. I bought entirely new makeup, curled all my hair. I curled my hair. All of it. Put on makeup, took a picture.
I know,
job.
you sent it to me on Snapchat. It's very hot.
Thank you.
It's like, that's my girl.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like the third time you've seen me wear makeup.
Yeah, that's true. God, I wish I were you.
I don't wear it very often. I probably should.
No, I say if you don't have to, don't do it, If I didn't have to put on... Well, I mean, I don't have to, but...
No.
If I was confident enough, I don't at all. But thank you for saying that.
Well, maybe it's
if
because
I was confident.
Yeah,
it's because
I wouldn't know.
It's because you've never seen it. Anyways, enough about us.
Yeah. News. Horror news.
News.
I will once again kick us off.
Please.
Mm-hmm. We have an update on Jordan Peele's 4th horror movie.
Yes.
It's gotten a release date. October 23rd, 2026.
No!
So far away. He posted on social media today, actually, the day that we're recording this. Just the date. That's it. No other context. We don't have a cast. We don't have a synopsis. We don't even have a title. The title that we thought we had, however many months ago that was, that we thought there was a title, gone. Scrapped. Yeah,
I realized that because him, which was previously the Goat or whatever, that he's just producing that. I thought that was his 4th film, but no.
No, yeah. But I guess we have a date. A week before Halloween, 2 years from now.
That's so depressing.
Yeah.
I mean, exciting.
Only 6 months.
But too far.
So
I need it now.
We've been talking about it for a year.
I know.
I guess that's the curse of reporting horror news.
Yeah.
Long wait.
Yeah.
All right, what do you got?
The 2015 sci-fi psychological thriller Circle is getting a sequel. Yeah, the original kind of gained like a cult following after it was released on Netflix. And that supported it enough to get another one greenlit. So it's going to be called Circles.
Cute.
Clever.
Because there's 2 of them.
Yeah, there's more than one this time. But yeah, filming is expected to start later this year.
Cute. Mm-hmm. I thought Netflix's Circle was a reality TV show. People put in a building.
So that is The Circle.
Yeah.
This was just a movie. I don't think it was even a Netflix film. It just gained popularity after it went to streaming. Like when it was released, it didn't really make much of a buzz, and then it found its audience on streaming.
Cute.
Yeah.
Good for it. Mm-hmm. Robert Pattinson.
Hell yeah.
Of Twilight and Batman fame, and other movies, I guess, is going to produce a remake of the popular 80s horror film Possession.
I heard about this.
Today.
Maybe.
Yeah. He's going to get support from Parker Finn, who directed Smile. It sounds like Parker Finn's going to write it.
Okay.
We don't have a cast yet, but there's rumors that Warner Brothers, A24, Netflix, and a couple other studios are all in a bidding war over the rights to it.
All right.
I've never seen Possession.
Yeah.
So someone tell me if I should.
Yeah, you should.
Okay. Maybe I'm not.
You mentioned Smile. I have semi-related news to Smile.
Oh, okay.
Loosely.
Okay.
But, segues. We love them. Okay, so Kevin Bacon, who we love, and Kira Sedgwick are planning to co-direct and star in a horror movie because they're like huge fans of the genre. And of course, they've cast their daughter, Sosie Bacon. Nepotism reigns once again. Anyway, Sosie Bacon starred in Smile. So that's my connection. We brought it home, full circle. There we go.
I think the real news is that Kira Sedgwick and Kevin Bacon are married.
They are married.
I didn't know that.
Oh. Yeah. For like a while.
Yeah, I mean, they would have to be. I don't remember either of them being married recently.
No.
Cute.
Yeah.
Oh, nepotism.
Oh, nepotism. You sly dog.
Really is a sly dog. Everywhere
Yeah.
you turn, there's a nepo baby.
Yeah, it's just all of Hollywood.
Yeah, it really is.
They're all nepotism babies.
Yeah.
Or they had rich parents.
Isn't that
Oh,
what
to
nepotism
have
is?
rich parents. Well, nepotism's more like your parents getting you a job. But like, yeah, I mean, having rich parents is definitely... It's
One
much
way to get a
easier
job.
to follow your dreams when you don't have to worry about income.
Yeah. So fair. Okay, one more from me.
Okay.
It's video game news.
Ooh.
The makers of Jurassic Park Survival and the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake are releasing a Quiet Place video game called The Road Ahead.
Ooh.
And this week we got our first look. Also today, the day that we're filming. There's an official reveal trailer on YouTube now, and it's kind of giving Phasmophobia. Yeah, you're like walking around with a bunch of handheld equipment, trying to be quiet. And it looks like the biggest enemy is going to be the map, which like sabotages you into making noise, and then you die.
Ah.
We only get like maybe 60 seconds of what looks to be gameplay.
Yeah.
But you're trying to be quiet, and you step on glass, or you close the door a little too hard. And then here comes an alien.
Here comes the alien.
Yeah.
All right.
But anyway, that comes out later this year, which will tie us over between Quiet Place Day 1, which releases later this month, and then A Quiet Place 3, which is supposedly scheduled for next year.
Yeah. Well, this episode is going to be released in July. So A Quiet Place Day 1 is already out if you're listening to this.
It's out already?
When we're filming it, it is not yet out.
We never film 2 weeks in advance.
I know. We had to.
Yeah.
It's summer. We've got vacations. We've got to record in advance.
Am I in Scotland right now?
Yeah, this comes out July 2nd.
Oh my god, I'm in Scotland.
Oh my god, if you're listening to this, Katie's in Scotland. Okay, last news from me. Longlegs comes out this month if you're listening to this.
July?
July.
Just to be clear? Okay.
It comes out in July. It has some of my favorite marketing for a horror movie in recent memory. It's just been like very cryptic, like little, snippets and stuff. Really been loving it. They've continued this viral campaign by creating a website that shows and like shares how the fictional serial killer in the movie is killing his victims. I've been tempted to go look. I haven't yet because I kind of want to go into this as blind as possible. Yeah. But if you're interested, it is there. It's called thebirthdaymurders.net. So apparently there's info on the serial killer and there's crime scene photos.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's fun.
I know. I'm kind of nervous about that one because I'm really excited about it.
What you just told me is the extent of my knowledge of that movie.
Oh, okay.
I know.
You haven't seen any? Oh my god, I get the like little snippets on TikTok and it's like...
I don't even get that.
The marketing's been good.
Oh, okay. I have 2 TikToks. I have, my main TikTok, and then I have the horror TikTok that I go through for news and stuff.
Got it. Okay.
My main TikTok is dogs and Taylor Swift.
Fun.
Anyway. All right. Well, if you're here, you probably came for X. Literally and figuratively. I'll give you a quick synopsis.
All right.
X is the first of 3 movies in the X series, written and directed by Ty West. It's about a group of actors in the 1970s who set out to make a porn in a remote cabin in Texas. The elderly couple whose land the cabin is on turns out to be much more dubious than they originally appear, and the actors and crew find themselves in a desperate and ultimately hopeless fight for their lives. Released in March of 2022, it stars Mia Goth as Maxine and Pearl, as well as Jenna Ortega, Brittany Snow, and Kid Cudi, which I didn't know until writing the synopsis. It's an A24 film shot on a $1 million budget, which made $15 million at the box office. Did pretty good. And finally, it has a 6.5 out of 10 on IMDb and an impressive 94% critic score and 75% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes.
The critics loved it.
And audiences mostly did.
Yeah.
But yeah, critics really like this movie.
Yeah. Do you remember Ty West's name?
I do, but I don't remember. I was going to say that we have watched something of his.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
He did the honeymoon segment in VHS.
That's right.
Yeah.
I did know that. I would not have known what segment it was, but I do remember that he was part of that.
Yeah.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he's done?
No.
Or that's all I've seen that he's
I
done?
think that's all you've seen.
Okay.
But yeah, no, he's done other things.
Yeah.
That are on our list. But yeah. They filmed in New Zealand. When Ty West went down there, they had a mandatory 2-week COVID lockdown because this was height of the pandemic. So during that quarantine, in the 2 weeks, he wrote Pearl, the prequel. And A24 saw the script. They greenlit it before they even started production on X.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess before production had wrapped. I think they had started by then. And yeah, he just asked Mia Goth if she wanted to stay, and she said yes. And they just filmed it right after they finished filming this, and it released later that year.
Crazy.
It was crazy because I remember when it came out, and then all of a sudden they were like, "Oh, the sequel or the prequel's coming out," and I was like, "Wait, what? Like, I haven't even had time to see the first one. What do you mean?"
Yeah. Just to like recap that timeline because I was obsessed with this.
Yeah.
Production on X started in February 2021. Then he had the 2-week quarantine in his hotel right before that, where he wrote Pearl. A24 greenlit it before March of 2021. So like within 2 months. Again, from what I can tell. So literally a month later. And then they filmed back to back. X was released March of 2022. Pearl was released in September. Crazy.
Pumping them out.
Seriously. There's interviews of Mia Goth saying that she's like almost trying to be secretive about it. She's saying that she had known Pearl's backstory. This is in interviews for X. And she said that was really helpful in her being able to portray the character, obviously. But it does seem like she's trying to be quiet about, oh, we also filmed Pearl.
Yeah, she probably couldn't have said that quite yet. But yeah, I'm sure that did help, just like knowing who she was.
Yeah. Also, when I guessed this movie and I said Maxine and Pearl are the same person, I wasn't completely wrong.
They are played by the same person. But 2 different characters.
Yeah.
Which actually, like, it threw me off the first time I watched it. I don't know what it is about old age makeup that, like, I can just clock immediately.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, as soon as I saw her, I was like, because I didn't know that she played it when I went into it. Like, I didn't know that she was playing both parts.
Mm.
But as soon as I saw Pearl, I was like, that's old age makeup.
Yeah.
And so, like, I kept expecting, like, a Midnight Mass type of thing. Like, I was like, is this supernatural? Like, does something happen? Like, I was so confused. And then the movie ended, and I was like, wait, why? Yeah. And then I, like, realized that it was Mia Goth and was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Although her voice I think I kind of, like, could figure out that it was her, because her voice is very distinctive.
Yeah. Yeah, even with her Southern American accent.
Yeah.
Howard was who tipped me off of the old age makeup.
Oh, okay.
Like, I clocked him immediately. I was like, oh, terrible makeup. It wasn't terrible. But yeah, no. So like once I knew he was, I was like, okay, so this lady probably is too.
But he's like an older guy, so it's like
which was like almost like why did you even put prosthetics on him at all?
Yeah, I think they wanted them to be like older.
Yeah, and I think he's done like character work like that before, like monster work before. The guy who plays Howard? I could be making that up.
Oh. He was in the Lord of the Rings movies and the Hobbit
Yes.
movies.
Yes.
So yeah, he's probably done.
Orkai.
Orkai?
Orkai.
Oh, who's that? Is that Lord of the Rings?
One of the races, and I'm just guessing.
Okay.
Who's to say?
Who's
Anyway.
to say? Not me.
Yeah. Mia Goth said that, so it took 6 to 8 hours to do her makeup, and there were 30 individual prosthetic pieces. She said at first that was really restricting. She hated it.
Yeah.
But eventually she realized that she could harness that restricting feeling and use it to get into character while she was literally watching herself age in front of a mirror.
Yeah.
There's a time lapse on YouTube if you haven't seen it.
Oh, I haven't. That's just like, oh, to sit there for 6 to 8 hours just getting your makeup done and then you still have to go act
Right?
for like, what, 12 hours?
At least to make the day worthwhile.
I'd be so tired.
And they were like probably backwards because they filmed at night a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brutal.
Yeah. Oh,
I was surprised that this is her first lead role.
Mia Goth?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's
Yeah,
like,
I guess I've only seen her in like, I feel like this is like the movie that kind of like made her career. Because she's been like, I've definitely seen her in other things as side characters, but yeah, this definitely skyrocketed her.
yeah. I kept confusing her with, what's that one girl? Dated Kanye for a minute. She's in Uncut Gems.
Julia Fox.
Yeah, Julia Fox. For whatever reason, I keep getting them confused.
They do not look alike at all.
No, they really don't. They just got the same vibe about them, you know?
Oh, okay. See, I feel like I like Julia Fox's vibe, and I'm like iffy on Mia Goth's vibe.
I'm the other way around.
Oh, okay.
I've grown on Mia Fox.
Mia Goth.
What's her
You'll
name?
get there.
Mia Fox.
Mia Goth.
Fuck. I did it again.
Mia Goth.
Mia Goth has grown on me.
Okay.
I don't like Julia Fox. I don't like
Julia
her.
Fox just seems funny.
Yeah.
She seems camp to me. Like, I feel like she's like over the top, but like she kind of knows what she's doing.
Yeah, that's fair.
Whereas, like, I don't know, Mia Goth just, I'm not sure about it.
Is it the eyebrows?
No, it's her kicking someone in the head. I'm getting
What?
sued.
Oh, yeah,
What,
that's
with the
right.
lawsuit?
The lawsuit. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I don't think she did it on purpose.
But even before that, I don't know. Something's just off about her.
I think it's the eyebrows. I really think it's the eyebrows.
I think it's the voice.
That doesn't help.
No,
Her accent, her real accent sounds fake.
it does. This accent kind of sounded fake too.
What, this
Yeah, is it just
Texas
me?
accent?
Yeah, I just didn't think the southern accent fit her very well.
Which is so funny because she made a comment in an interview about how, like, acting in, like, the South of America is, like, she felt at home.
Oh,
Like, what? Where is she from? She's from Europe somewhere.
like being in the South of America or pretending to be in the South of America? Because this was filmed in New Zealand.
I know, like pretending, obviously. Like,
Got it,
acting,
okay.
acting in Texas.
Okay.
Yeah, I just thought that was a very strange comment that she made. Like, it felt at home for her to play like a
Southerner?
farmer and like a Southern girl, like a little Southern girl. Like, what?
I don't know.
Do they have a Southern population in Europe that I don't know about?
No, there's no South and there's no farms.
But is it
in
the
all of
same?
Europe.
Is it the same?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
I've never been to the farms of Europe.
I'll let you know next week.
Okay. Perfect. One of my favorite fun facts about this movie is the title, which refers to the X rating, right?
Okay, yeah.
And that was used by the MPAA from 1968 to 1990. And it was to indicate a film that was only suitable for an audience aged 16 and older.
Mm-hmm.
And the idea behind the rating was that it wasn't trademarked. So filmmakers could release it under that rating without having it be reviewed for age certification, right? So they could just basically self-use that rating.
Okay.
They could assign it to their movies themselves, use it, and then they wouldn't have to do it. So like A Clockwork Orange, when that was released, they used the X rating because they didn't want to get that R rating that, limits who's going to see it.
Okay.
Porn started exploiting it. So
Yeah.
they would just
Sounds right.
release porns to theaters under the X rating because they
Jesus.
could. And so, yeah, theaters ended up stopping, like they would stop even allowing any X movies to play because it started getting associated with porn. And so then it kind of forced people who weren't doing porn but wanted to avoid the R rating to just get the R rating. So
Yeah.
yeah, and then they discontinued the X rating and it's now NC-17, which is trademarked, so you can't self-apply it. You gotta get it rated unless it's an unrated film. So
Interesting.
yeah,
Well, Ty
but I
said
think that
that.
that's like accurate to this movie, right?
Yeah, that's what I was
Porn.
gonna say. Yeah, Ty said that he wanted the movie, like, first and foremost, to be a love letter to film, but he mentioned that in the 70s, porn sort of like leveled the playing field because of the whole X rating thing, because it allowed people to become movie stars, essentially, like big silver screen
Yeah.
stars.
Yeah.
And he said that specifically about that, he enjoyed exploring the characters that really showed like the entrepreneurial spirit of that, like the characters in X did.
Yeah.
I thought that was fun.
Yeah. We've talked about how it's filmed in New Zealand.
Mm-hmm.
Which is weird because, like, I think when I think New Zealand, I think Lord of the Rings, right? So, like,
Okay, yeah.
because that was filmed there. So, like, this setting just, like, doesn't feel like New Zealand to me, but obviously it's an entire country.
Yeah.
But I thought they did well with, like, choosing the sets and stuff because it looks like it could have been in Texas. But anyways,
what about? I mean, the Lord of the Rings. When you think about the Lord of the Rings, what do you think of?
I think of, like, lush green hills and forests and stuff like that.
Is that not what was in X?
Well, yeah, but it was more like farm. They had like the dusty roads and stuff like that.
Okay.
It looked more rural, I guess, than like the fantasy world that is Lord of the Rings.
Then a fantasy Hobbit town.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's what I picture as New Zealand is a fantasy hobbit town.
Weird, because I mean, grass, trees, okay.
You thought that this looked similar to Lord of the Rings?
Well, I mean, I didn't think that intentionally, but when you said, I don't understand how you don't see it as Lord of the Rings now.
Oh.
It's like grass and stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Hills.
Just grass.
Hills. I do agree it looks like Texas.
Thank you.
But
think
so
Lord
does
of the
Lord of
Rings
the
looks
Rings.
like Texas? I don't think Lord of the Rings looks like Texas. Anyways, that wasn't my point at all.
Sorry, I just totally derailed it. Go
my
on.
point was that apparently you could tell that it was filmed in the Southern Hemisphere at the shot of the moon coming up because it's flipped.
The wrong side of the moon.
Yep. Yeah.
Silly.
Which I think is fun.
Oh, yeah, that is cute.
Yeah.
Oh, I love a space fact.
Space.
It's a space movie.
It is. At its core.
Yeah, at its core.
It's about
really
space.
Is. Space. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Space and time.
Space and time.
This movie's got a lot of foreshadowing.
Yeah.
So much. Shall we go through them all?
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Okay. My favorite, Bobby Lynn, is shown next to a mural of a blonde woman with an alligator pulling off her bikini.
Yeah.
She's jazzed by crocodile or alligator, I guess. I mean, if they're in New Zealand, it's a crocodile, but if they're in Texas, it's an alligator. Wayne tells RJ that people's eyes are going to pop out of their skulls, and then he dies with a pitchfork to the eyes. Disgusting. Yep. Wayne also tells RJ never mention a woman's weight, and then Howard has his fatal heart attack immediately after saying that Lorraine is heavier than she looks.
Yep.
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Jackson, played by Kid Cudi, mentions several times that he's threatened by farmers with guns, or he's been threatened by farmers with guns, and then he's shot by Howard, farmer with a gun. And Howard mentions that he's worried Pearl might fall and break her hip, and then she does, right before Maxine drives over her face with a truck.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that when it kind of like all connects and you can find those little Easter eggs of...
Yeah.
I like it when it's like hinted at but not completely spelled out for you. You know what I mean?
Well, I didn't notice any of those until I read the fun fact on IMDb.
Yeah. I think the only one I noticed was like the mural.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't even
But
recognize
then too,
that.
they mention Psycho.
Mm-hmm.
And then later they find like the partially submerged car.
Yeah.
Like Marion Crane's car in Psycho.
Cute.
And then in Maxine, the new one that's coming out, she's like on the backlots at the Psycho house.
Oh, cute. Yeah, because
Yeah.
she's trying to be a star.
Yeah. The Universal backlots, which we've walked through. We've walked on the steps of the Bates Motel.
Yeah. Well, I haven't. We didn't do that. We walked
Yeah,
past
during
it.
horror nights.
No, we walked past it. Oh,
We
the
walked
hotel.
up-
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah.
The hotel. Yes. The
The
house.
hotel,
No.
the house we didn't.
Yeah, not the
no.
house.
You can't, I don't even think you can go in the house. You can go up on the steps and get a picture
Yeah.
with Norman, but
Yeah,
you can't
on the
go
steps
in.
of the house. Yeah.
Yeah, no, we walked on the steps of the motel.
Motel.
not the
Yeah, you're so
house.
right. You're so right.
I was
don't know why-
like,
I don't know
I'm
why I
pretty
argue
sure
with
you
you.
were standing right next to me.
I was probably clinging to you with my soiled pants. Literally, I peed my pants
Oh,
because I kept screaming so loud.
yeah, you were screaming a lot.
I did scream a lot.
My favorite was when we'd just be walking through a hallway and nothing was happening and you'd keep screaming.
Because something was gonna happen. Eventually, I might as well prep a little. But no,
I love
some of the
haunted
jump
houses
scares.
so much.
Yeah. Some of
I
the-
actually just enjoy watching other people go through haunted
Yeah,
houses.
yeah. I'm really good entertainment in a haunted house. Nobody here will go with me. I literally have to fly my ass out to LA to go to a haunted house.
Oh, well, luckily you can fly out here and I will do it anytime. When Universal opens that like permanent exhibit in Vegas, we're going.
Yeah.
100%.
Ooh, it's gonna be so fun.
Yeah. Back to the film.
Yeah, sorry. We just like talking about us.
You know what? What is a podcast if not our self-indulgent opinions and life stories?
Yeah.
Oh, another little like foreshadowing thing. The guy who's in the basement when Lorraine finds him like tied up,
Yes.
his face is on the milk carton that Jackson drinks out of. He's like one of the missing people or whatever.
Oh.
Yeah. Which also a fun fact, this movie takes place in 1979 and they didn't do that until 1984. So
Oh.
missing people were not on milk cartons at the time that this was filmed.
Was that called an anachronism?
Yes.
Could be wrong. I could have just
I've
made
never
that
heard
up.
the word that you just used. Anachronism. A thing belonging or appropriate to a period other than which it exists, especially a thing that is conspicuously old-fashioned.
Yep. An anachronism.
Nice. Wait, I think I do know that because I think there's like another movie.
Well, there's a whole category on IMDb of anachronisms.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a movie that we'll watch. I feel like I'll probably put it on the schedule when the sequel comes out. But
Ooh.
it's called It Follows. And it's
I
like,
thought that was about a clown.
oh, no, that's it.
Got it.
But It Follows is about like, no, I won't tell you what it's about.
Yeah,
but,
don't tell me.
It's just like you can't pinpoint like when it takes place because all of the like furniture and set decoration looks older, but then like they use technology that's not even created yet.
Weird.
So it's so weird, and they did it on purpose to kind of be like anachronistic. I think like you couldn't really pinpoint where it was. Like there's futuristic stuff, but also like old timey stuff. It was weird.
The word anachronistic sounds like a deadly sin.
Yeah,
A little bit.
anachronistic. She was too anachronistic. Killed her.
Yikes. You know, I definitely thought It Follows was a sequel to It. Well, now I know not to guess that when I have to guess that. Because I would
It's
have.
not about Pennywise.
Too bad.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. Ty West also, when he was kind of developing this, said that he wanted to bring the shock value back to horror films that he remembered growing up. And really wanted to focus on the taboo and the edginess that he remembered. He specifically called out like the scene of is it Wayne that steps on the nail?
Mm,
That kind
I
of thing.
think so, yeah.
And the poor guy got impaled a couple times.
Yeah. Yeah. Sucks to be Wayne.
Is Wayne who's standing in the door with his schlong out too? Is that who was standing in the door? Or was it Kid Cudi?
I don't remember Wayne being naked.
It's when Howard comes to the door.
Oh, I don't
Howard's like
remember.
at the door and then somebody opens the door and his schlong's out. You remember that? It was
No.
enormous.
Might have been him then.
Kid Cudi?
No, Wayne.
Yeah.
Because I remember him opening the door for Howard. But he does it the first time. Who does it the second time when the schlong's out? Who's to say I'm going to have to rewatch it?
Yeah, we'll just rewatch it. I wonder if that was a prosthetic.
Oh, been on your mind a lot?
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, it was really big.
I'm sad that it didn't stick with me
Yeah.
enough to, like, remember this.
You don't soon forget a schlong that giant.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, schlongs. This was Brittany Snow's first nude scene.
Huh.
And she said in an interview, what did she say? Direct quote, incoming. She said, I think there was a lot of confidence in terms of our characters, and a part of the nudity came from the confidence that our characters exuded. It almost felt necessary because not only were we filming a porn, but our characters would have been so comfortable with that. It was an exercise in me feeling confident about my body. I was pretty proud of myself. And that's nice. I feel like if you're going to do a nude scene in a movie, I feel like that is the outcome that you would want them to feel.
If you're going to do a nude scene in a Psycho Biddy film, that is how you should feel also.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll talk more about that later.
Great. But yeah, I always feel bad when like you hear about people like regretting doing nude scenes or stuff like that. So
yeah,
it's nice that she felt empowered by it.
Mm-hmm. I was surprised to see the iconic Jenna Ortega scream in this movie.
Oh, you didn't know it was in this?
Nope. I didn't even know she was in this until she showed up on screen.
Yeah, she is in this.
I didn't know Kid Cudi was in it either.
Yeah.
Until a few minutes ago. But no, the scene where she's doing that, she filmed it extremely hungover. She went on a bar crawl with Kid Cudi the night before. Can you imagine screaming that loud and that expressively being hungover? Well, no, you can't because you've never been hungover. Must be nice.
I did have a hangover, kind of. Remember I told you after New Year's this year.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like kind of nauseous the next day.
Shut up. I was kind of nauseous. You haven't been hungover until you've seen death the day after you drink.
Yeah, that hasn't happened to me yet.
I'll try again later. Try. Maybe next New Year's.
Yeah, maybe every 2 years now it'll just get progressively worse.
Worse, yeah, as you get older.
Yeah. I hope not.
It's just not fair. I want to drink as much as I want and not have a hangover.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Some of us are just blessed.
Built different.
Yeah. It's the alcoholism that runs in my family.
I have that too, and it doesn't give me no hangover.
You're like all the downsides, none of the benefit.
Yeah, seriously. My addictive personality, and I still get hangovers.
Oh, yeah. It's a rough life. Yeah.
Any other fun facts about X?
My only other fun fact that I had was that there actually is an adult film called The Farmer's Daughter.
How cute.
Yeah, and I guess it was infamous because it starred an acclaimed mainstream writer and actor named Spalding Gray. And if I'm being honest, I've never heard of him.
Yeah, not very acclaimed.
I guess back in the day he was.
Okay. What year did it come out?
It came out in 1976. He was in Grey's Anatomy, the film, which I didn't know that there was a film called Grey's Anatomy.
Not like the show.
No, not like the show at all. He was in Kate and Leopold. He was in, that's newer.
What did he write? Because none of these are acclaimed.
Writer. He wrote Alive from Off Center, which was a TV series. He wrote Swimming to Cambodia, Trying Times. These are just like one episodes of TV. Monsters in a Box, and Grey's Anatomy.
The movie?
Yeah, the film.
How strange.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I haven't really heard of any of these things, but apparently he was an acclaimed actor back in the day.
According to who? Not us.
Not me. What about you? Any other fun facts?
No, I'm ready to rate it.
Oh, you're ready to rock and roll, huh?
Yep.
All right, let's do it.
All right, how scary did you think it was?
I gave it a 1.
Okay.
I don't know. I think it was the vibe of the movie
Yeah.
because it was just kind of like a fun romp. It didn't really scare me that much.
Okay.
What about you?
I give it a 1.5
Yeah.
because it's a
Little
vibe
tension.
thing.
Okay.
I think you throw most of this cast together, and whatever they make, you just know is like inherently know that it's supposed to be scary.
Okay.
I wasn't scared,
Got it.
but I knew that it was supposed to be scary.
Okay.
So 1.5.
You could recognize
Yeah,
that it was supposed to be scary.
yeah. You're trying to scare me. You're not doing it, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
How sexy did you think it was?
yeah. So for a film that's literally porn, you'd think it would be a 5. So I think that there's just too much elderly slashing going on. And I think that that's unfortunately the point. But even still, I give it a 3 out of 5.
Okay.
And if I'm being honest, one of those points is for the alligator kill. That really did it for me.
Oh, that was hot.
Yeah, I'd love to be killed by an alligator.
Yeah.
I mean, not sexually, but maybe.
Okay.
Don't
Who's
know
to
until you
say?
try.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Life
How about you?
motto. I actually agree with you that, like, it's a porn movie, right? Like, well, not a porn movie. It's a movie about a porn. So you'd think top tier sexiness.
Mhm.
But yeah, no offense to elderly people, but it's just that killed it a little bit. I
Yeah.
still gave it a 3.5
Okay.
because there was, the vibe
Yeah.
of it's a slasher, and slashers are always kind of a little sexy.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gave it a 3.5.
How fucked up did you think it was?
I give it a 1.5
Okay.
because the 0.5 was just for like the elderly vibe, when she like crawls into bed with her. That I didn't like that. I don't know what I would do if I woke up and an elderly woman was hugging me in bed, but I don't think I'd like that.
Okay.
What about you?
You're gonna be real disappointed when I give you my overall score. Fucked up. I gave it a 3 for fucked up. Yeah. The
Okay.
eye stuff.
Oh,
the,
yeah.
The old people being hurt stuff really bothered me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The death rattle.
Yeah.
I hated. The implied sex torture.
Yeah.
The demonization of the elderly.
Yeah, that's fair.
The running over of the elderly with a truck. It was just like all pretty fucked up. You'd think I'd put the alligator kill here, but no.
No, that wouldn't into sexy. Yeah.
I like gators.
Overall, what'd you think?
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Okay. I gave it a 3.
Okay.
This film had incredible acting, an incredible cast, but Psycho Biddy just does not do it for me. I didn't love Barbarian either for that same reason. Like, don't get me wrong, I love a strong, like, murdery female character, regardless of age, but what makes Psycho Biddy is essentially associating aging with becoming ugly and evil.
Okay.
That genre is kind of known for its history of exploiting actresses who are vulnerable to ageism, which I think, like, obviously we avoided that in this movie because we had a young actress portray the old actress.
Mm-hmm.
But I still had just like a really hard time with the anti-aging of it all. Yeah, so anyway, all that said, there's also a few of my favorite kills that we've ever seen in this movie. A few really fun, like, cringy scenes, like scenes that make you go, ooh. A really iconic scene with Jenna Ortega's scream. And a great team behind it. So I still gave it a 3. Yeah. How about you?
I gave it a 4.
Wow.
I think this movie's a romp. It's a lot of fun. I understand where you're coming from with the Psycho Biddy movies. That totally makes sense. I guess I didn't really have as much of an issue. And I think also, like, I've seen Pearl, so, like, I know the backstory. So, like, that kind of helps in terms of, like, knowing that it wasn't so much about aging that made her that way. So, I do have that context for this film that you are missing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was great acting. It was, like, such a great homage to, like, 70s slashers and that kind of genre, and it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Great kills.
Great kills. It was really fun to watch.
Wait, why wouldn't I like your oh, because I didn't like the old
Because you
woman
didn't like
crawling
the
in
old
bed.
lady thing. Like, that was the point, and I didn't like that as being the point.
I mean, in its defense, I wouldn't like a person of any age crawling into bed with me.
Exactly. That's my point, exactly.
Yeah, but to play devil's advocate, that's just a creepy scenario. It doesn't necessarily have to do with her age.
It shouldn't be implied that it's creepier because she's older.
But I don't think it was in the movie. I think it was just creepy because someone crawled into bed with her.
Well, that's debatable. I think they went a little out of their way to make her look ugly.
Yeah, the old age makeup was bad, but
Yeah. Yeah.
That was weird.
Yeah, I don't know if it made it worse that they put old age makeup on a younger actor or if they would have hired an old actress. I don't know. Just something about like that the implied ageism of it all just like really rubbed me the wrong way for some reason. I don't know. Not to say that it's a bad movie.
That's fair. Hey, if it bothered you, it bothered you.
Yeah. I ranked it as high as you ranked Arcadian.
Would you survive?
No.
Oh, okay.
Because only Maxine did.
Yeah.
And I just built different. She's built different. I mean, so am I. But not like
in the
that.
same way.
Yeah.
Built different.
I'm built different. I'm going
the
first.
person who's built different.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. After the discussion we just had, maybe I'm just jumping into the alligator pond for fun.
Oh, yeah.
You know.
Great.
Could be a good time.
It honestly could be.
You don't know until you try.
You don't.
And would you survive?
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think I'd probably just be sleeping until they came and killed me.
Oh, really?
I don't know, yeah.
Why
But
were
also,
they
I
killing
think,
people?
I probably wouldn't have suspected them, you know?
Yeah. Well, yeah, why were they killing people?
You know, Pearl's just being Pearl.
I guess I'll have to watch it.
No, I think it's just like the guy in the basement or whatever. Like, I think it's just kind of implied that she is a serial killer.
A murderer.
Yeah. She's a murderer.
Yeah. Which, by the way, until much later after watching the movie, thought that the guy in the basement was RJ. It's a completely different guy.
Different guy, yeah. Yeah.
Makes a little bit more sense.
Yeah. No, she's just a serial killer. Which I think is why, like, he invited the guy, because the guy didn't tell him that he was going to have other people with him. Like, he didn't tell them that he was filming, so I think he accepted him to stay there because it was getting another victim, but then it was just, there were a lot more people that showed up with him.
Yeah.
That was my interpretation, I guess.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Well,
X.
catch Maxine in theaters soon.
That's true. Maxine comes out. What day does Maxine come out?
I don't know, August something?
No. Earlier, right?
I don't know.
July 3rd. It comes out
it's already out.
tomorrow.
It comes out tomorrow?
Doesn't this release on the
It comes
2nd?
out on a Wednesday? That's a dumb
Wait,
day of the week.
is that true? Yeah, this comes out. This episode is. Maxine comes out tomorrow.
Yay! Wow, it's like we planned it.
Wow, I did, but
You did.
wow, everyone can go see Maxine tomorrow.
Cute.
Why is it releasing on a Wednesday? What a weird day.
I got tickets to see it early from my AAA 24 membership.
Ooh, Are you gonna go?
I'll be in Scotland.
Oh well,
I am in Scotland right now.
you're in Scotland right now.
I wonder if I can send them to you. You could go.
Oh. All right. Do you want to predict? Nope. I'll start again.
Yeah.
All right. Do you want to predict next week's movie?
Yeah.
All right. We are
What is
watching both the original 1958 version and the 1986 version of The Fly.
Yeah. The Fly. Well, I think that they're both the same movie,
Great.
but like remade, obviously. So I'll just guess the plot of The Fly.
Okay.
And for context, we're doing that movie because they just announced that they're making another remake.
Another
of The
remake.
Fly.
Of The Fly.
So The Fly is about a fly,
Yep.
a giant murdering fly
Mm-hmm.
that sucks people into its proboscis and kills them.
What's a proboscis for everybody besides me? Because obviously I know.
The little like mouth,
Oh, just his mouth.
it's like the like straw mouth, you know?
Oh, got it. Yeah, the little
Yeah,
proboscis.
proboscis. Don't you know what a
Okay.
proboscis monkey is?
Oh.
Look up a proboscis monkey so I can have your reaction live on stream.
Okay. I don't know how to spell it. Proboscis monkey. Oh, that's a penis.
Yeah, he's got a dick for a mouth.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're looking at it a little too hard.
I'm just taking it in.
Whoa. Yikes.
Cut the tapes.
Anyway.
Okay, great. It proboscises people left and right.
Yeah, it's just, it's about this woman I think it's like New York City or some shit.
Yeah.
And she's like walking to her friend's house or whatever, and this giant fly comes and tries to proboscis her.
Yeah.
And is unsuccessful. She runs away, and then it's her job to convince the town of people, New York City, that there are giant murdering flies.
Yeah. Oh, there's more than one.
Okay, probably. I mean, imagine how fast a fly reproduces. So
True.
there's probably a gazillion of them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
This is a
And
monster movie.
yeah, I mean, definitely.
Like Godzilla, but a fly.
Yeah, well, smaller.
It's smaller. Okay, so it's giant
Than
fly, but not
Godzilla.
that giant.
Yeah, it's like elephant sized.
Okay.
Because like the trunk of an elephant and then the proboscis of the fly.
Of course.
Yeah. And then at the end, I don't know. I think I think that they probably, what they do?
What did they do?
They pesticide everything.
Oh,
and,
okay. Yeah.
And all the flies die.
Spray it.
Yeah, all the flies die. But plot twist, they also kill the atmosphere and then they're burned up by the sun. That's the end of the movie. It's also a space movie.
It's also a space movie. Wow, okay. So they very forward thinking.
Yeah.
That in 1958 they were conscious about pesticides in the
Pesticides?
ozone.
I mean, there's always no, they weren't conscious about the ozone. They didn't know.
Yeah, but in the movie they knew enough that would cause that.
No. No, it was an accident.
Yeah.
They did the pesticides
But I'm saying
to kill
they wrote the movie. The writers of the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
Shit.
No, I love it.
I mean, global warming was happening then too, I'm sure of it.
Yeah, they just didn't really know.
When did we find out about global warming? Was it Al Gore?
I think it was like 90s.
Oh, God.
Yeah. At least like when the general public was made aware.
Wow, well, that's a plot hole.
It's fine. I love it.
Okay, good.
Cool.
Have you
I can't wait
seen
to watch
these?
it. I have seen the 86 one. I have actually never seen the 58 one.
Nice.
So maybe you nailed the 58 one. I don't know.
Oh, so I didn't nail the 76.
You did
or
not
70.
nail the 86 one. No.
Damn.
No.
Too bad. I think it's somebody
Yeah.
like really super cool doing the remake, and that's why I'm excited about it. I think it's like Michael Giacchino. He's a composer. Like, what the fuck is he doing remaking a horror movie? Right?
Who's to say?
Who's redoing it? I'm gonna
I
look.
have no idea. I know we talked about it at one point.
Fly remake. It's a David Cronenberg movie.
Oh, wait. Yeah, we did. Or no, wait. Yeah.
The 86 one, sorry.
Yeah.
But who's remaking? Doesn't even say. I don't know. Zendaya is going to be in it.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah.
The Fly remake starring Zendaya to be in the works.
Oh my
I'll
God,
watch
the
the shit out
86
of
has
that.
Jeff Goldblum and Gina Davis.
Yes, it does.
So fun.
Yeah, people love that guy.
Yeah. I think he's a little creepy, but I do like him.
I don't like it. But that's just me. We can talk about my bad, or I guess unpopular Jeff Goldblum opinions next week.
Okay.
Or we don't have to. We can
No,
let
we
the public
should.
love him.
We should.
All right, cool. Well, I'm excited to watch The Fly with you.
Me too.
And I hope everybody enjoys Maxine, which comes out tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget
Yes.
to like and subscribe.
Please.
Please. See you
All right.
Next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.